The rain that night didn't fall. It lashed. It came down in sheets, soaking the world in grief, as if the sky itself was mourning. I remember the metallic scent of antiseptic burning my nose, the cold grip of a hospital chair numbing my back, and the rhythmic, erratic beeping of machines, those heartless timekeepers charting the slow unraveling of a life. My daughter, Lily, lay there, pale and unmoving, tubes weaving into her veins like tangled vines. And while she fought for every breath, somewhere across the city, her husband, Dean, was blowing out candles. I still hear it, the nurse's soft voice when she approached me, gentle, but trembling with something unspoken. She's not responding as we hoped. I'm sorry. We're doing everything we can. But that wasn't the moment my heart broke. It was an hour later, after I'd stepped out to get a breath of air I could actually inhale without gagging on chemicals and despair. My phone buzzed. A message from a friend. No words, just a video. Dean, he was laughing. Shirt half unbuttoned, arm slung around some woman I didn't recognize. A lit cake sat before him on a bar table, while people around him sang and cheered. He raised his glass, toasting himself. My daughter's life was fading like a flame in the wind, and this man, her husband, was celebrating. That was the moment something snapped. Lily was everything to me. I raised her on my own after her father walked out when she was barely 2. She was a wild thing when she was young. Curious, bright, defiant. I used to catch her sneaking into the woods behind our house to collect fairy treasures. Twigs, feathers, shiny rocks. She wanted to be a botanist, then a poet, then a photographer. She chased dreams like butterflies, never settling, but always moving forward. Then she met Dean. He was handsome, charming in a way that set off warning bells in my gut, but Lily fell fast. She was 22, head over heels, and blinded by the kind of love that makes you ignore shadows. I tried to talk to her. She told me I didn't understand, that Dean was good to her, that he loved her. Maybe once he did, but love doesn't leave bruises on arms. Love doesn't silence dreams. Love doesn't isolate you from your friends, your mother, your passions. I began noticing changes, calls less frequent, her voice thinner, tired. The sparkle in her eyes dimmed each time I saw her, but she always smiled and said, "I'm okay, Mom. Just tired, tired. God, she was so tired." Then the car accident happened. She was driving home alone. Late from a night class she'd picked up to start her nursing degree. A truck ran a red light. The doctor said the impact caused severe internal injuries. Her organs were failing. She might not wake up. And her husband. He hadn't been to the hospital once. Instead, he was out that night, surrounded by friends, some of whom knew Lily was clinging to life, and no one said a word. I went back into her room, stood by her bedside, and held her hand, ice cold under my palm. I whispered to her stories of her childhood, of the time she built a fort in our living room and declared it the kingdom of Lily, of when she broke her arm climbing a tree because she wanted to see what birds saw. I told her about the poems she used to write, the ones she was too shy to read aloud. And I told her something else. I saw him. I whispered. I saw what he was doing tonight. Her eyelids didn't move, but a tear escaped the corner of her eye. That tear changed everything. There's a saying that grief is love with nowhere to go. But that night my grief found a direction, and it wasn't quiet. It wasn't passive. It was rage. Over the next week, Lily lingered in a coma. Her body was a battlefield, and every day was a fight. I rarely left the hospital. When I did, it was to shower or collect her things. One afternoon, while rifling through her apartment for clean clothes, I found a small, leather-bound notebook hidden behind a stack of old books, her journal. The entries were sporadic at first. Little notes about her day. But as I flipped through, I began to see the truth unravel. He said I'm too sensitive again. Maybe I am. I just wanted him to say I did a good job on dinner. He drank again, got angry when I told him to stop, threw the glass against the wall. I miss Mom. I wanted to call her, but Dean said she's just going to fill my head with doubt. And then, I think if I died, he wouldn't cry. I sat there, notebook shaking in my hands, feeling the cold burn of those words carve into my heart. That night, back at the hospital, Dean finally showed up, not because he cared, but because a lawyer had called. A will had been mentioned. Money, insurance. He strolled in like nothing was wrong, still wearing his party jacket. "She doesn't look too bad," he muttered, like he was commenting on a car with a dented hood. I stood up. "Get out." He raised an eyebrow. "She's my wife. You don't deserve to speak that word. She's got power of attorney. If something happens, I'm next of kin." I pulled the notebook from my bag, flipped to the page where Lily had written his full name and underlined it. Then the next, "In the event of my death, I do not want Dean to have any control over my medical decisions or estate. I'm scared of him. Please, if you're reading this, protect me." Dean's face went pale. "That's not legal, no," I said quietly. "But it's enough for a judge to listen." In the days that followed, I took her words to court. I fought like a mother bear. With the help of a friend who worked in social services, we filed emergency protective measures and requested a medical proxy transfer. The judge listened. For once, the system worked. Dean tried to fight back, but the court subpoenaed his financial records. Turns out he'd been draining Lily's savings. Gambling, bars, other women. He didn't win. The second subplot unfolded around Lily's best friend, Jenna, a quiet woman who had slowly lost touch with Lily over the years. After hearing about the accident, Jenna returned from out of state and brought with her a USB drive. "She gave this to me 6 months ago," Jenna said. "Told me to keep it safe. Said to give it to you if anything ever happened." Inside were voice memos, recordings. Lily's voice, shaky but clear, recounting fights, bruises, the slow erosion of her spirit. "I'm leaving him," she said in one of the final recordings. "I'm applying for an apartment. I just need a few more weeks to save." That was 2 weeks before the accident. The possibility hung in the air like poison. Did he know she was leaving? Did the accident happen? Or was it made to? We'll never know. There was no proof, just suspicion. A shadow that will always hang over his name. Lily woke up 10 days later. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused at first, then steady. "Mom," she croaked. I broke down. It took months for her to heal, physically and emotionally. Therapy became a lifeline. She left Dean for good. Filed a restraining order. Reclaimed her life inch by inch. She published a book a year later. A memoir built from journal entries, voice memos, and the parts of herself she thought had died in the shadows of that marriage. The final line of the book read, "I woke up in a hospital room, alone but finally free. My mother sat beside me, holding my hand, and for the first time in years, I felt the warmth of love that didn't hurt. I survived him, and I will never again apologize for taking up space in this world." Looking back now, I don't regret the rage I felt that night. That message, that video of Dean celebrating while my daughter's life hung by a thread, was the fire that lit the path forward. Grief gave me strength. Lily gave me purpose. And together, we rose from the ashes. Love is not always soft. Sometimes love is fierce. Sometimes it claws and screams and fights like hell. Sometimes, love looks a lot like war. But in the end, it saves. And that is the story I will carry until the day I die.